Hey Divas, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Please put a one in the chat and let me know that you can hear me. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Let me see. Do I have some ones in the chat? I have some ones in the chat. Hey, Divas. Welcome to Pink Table Topics. I am your host and your good sis, Pink Diva. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, please don't forget to hit the like button for me. Feel free to drop down and leave a comment and also engage in our topic. Turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. And as you know, our mission is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis, but most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing our Diva tribe. And we're not just any Diva, we are divine, we are inspiring, we're valiant, and we are admirable. Welcome to the table, Divas. Happy Tuesday. I missed y'all. Oh my goodness, I miss y'all. It feels like it's been such a long time since we've been over here. Let me scroll up so I can do my Divas roll call and speak to everybody that's in the chat today. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure you have hit the like button for me on your way in. My mod, my sissy, Teresa Wright is in the building. Hey, sis. My sister from another mister is in the building. Chit chat with QT. Hey, sis. How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday. Thank you all for being here and pulling up and modding for me. Y'all know I love you and I appreciate you so much. Hey, Mama V, thanks for joining, Diva. Hey, let's be clear. Thank you so much for joining, sis. Still praying for you. Hope all is well. Praying for everybody, actually, to all of us. There's so much going on. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Hey, Veronica. Thanks for joining, sis. Philly Girl for Life is in the building. Hey, sis. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Hey, Deborah. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, CDW. Thank you for being here. Happy Tuesday to you, sis. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you all. For pulling up to the table. Thank you for bearing with me. It's been so much going on these last couple of weeks. I think I missed the week before last because we had power outages. We've been having some weird weather here for, a few weeks now. Real bad weather. And we had those of you that know, we had like a flood storm weekend before last. So the community has just been trying to recoup from that and trying to clean out. My daughter got some flood damage in her basement. So we've been trying to get carpet pulled up and all of that kind of stuff. Because, when that water sits for so long and it starts to mold and all of that kind of stuff. And she actually did really, really well until that Monday after the big flood. We had another rainstorm and then we had a power outage. My power was out for 17 hours. And when the power is out, that stops the sump pumps from working properly in the basements. So that's where her backup came from, because her power was actually out for 9 hours. And because her sump pump couldn't work because of the power outage, she got water damage. So it's been a lot. Thank you to those of you that have been reaching out and checking in on me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Those that have left messages, thank you. The city is just recuperating and trying to just get back to some normalcy. I mean, everywhere you drive, every corner at the curve, you just see tons and tons of like flooring and things that people lost in their basements, a lot of debris. So it's a lot of cleanup that's going on now. And so, yeah, thank you for everybody for praying. Hey, Brittany Janae, thanks for joining, sis. So it's just been so much that's going on, but we are here. We are here. Thank you again for joining. I appreciate you all. If you all see going across the screen, I have the trigger warning. Going across the screen, I have the domestic violence hotline. Going across the screen, because we're going to have a real conversation today. We're going to have a real and much needed conversation. And so, again, trigger warning. I totally understand if you may have to step away and not tune in. To any of you that have experienced DV, currently in a DV situation, or know someone that is, my heart goes out to you. My heart and prayers go out to each and every one of you. So, again, thanks for joining, because we're going to talk. If you saw in the thumbnail, we're talking about when love turns dangerous. I'm not going to hold you long, but I got to talk about this because, I've been listening to some things in the streets. I've been on listening in on a couple of the conversations, and I've been a bit triggered myself. So I understand if you are feeling away, and like I say, if you need to step back, take a breather, do whatever you need to do for you, because I totally understand. I totally understand. So tonight's topic is just one of those topics that far too many people have experienced, but not enough people are willing to talk about it openly. And that's domestic abuse. So tonight I want us to talk about it. And I want us to talk about the realities that us as survivors face, because I am a survivor. Why just leave is easier said than done. We want to talk about victim blaming versus holding the abusers accountable, and how we can create safer, more supportive spaces for women. That's what I want us to talk about, because domestic violence doesn't always start with bruises and broken bones. Sometimes it begins with words, it begins with control and isolation. It can happen in any culture, it can happen in any community, it can happen behind doors that look picture perfect on the outside. But tonight, I want us to shine a light, and we want to talk about it, because shining a light on domestic violence will help highlight some of the things that's going on. And hopefully we can get a better understanding in how we should make sure we are choosing our words wisely when we say certain things. So we're here to show love and never hurt. This is a no judgment zone. No one deserves to feel unsafe in their own home. No one should have to suffer in silence, and none of us should, and I do mean none of us, deserves to be abused, and I do mean nobody. I don't care what color, I don't care what size, I don't care what you say, I don't care what you did. Nobody deserves to be abused, and I'm talking about anybody across the board. Nobody deserves to be abused. This conversation is not about shame, but it's about awareness. It's about us healing. It's about giving a voice to survivors and the strength to those that are still in the storm, because when we talk about it, we break the stigma. And when we break the stigma, we break the cycle. But too often, silence protects the abuser while shame is placed on the victim. Let me say that again. Too often, silence protects the abuser while shame is placed on the victim. And that's not right. I've been listening in on some of these conversations regarding that whole Kelsey Frost and T Hood situation. And I've witnessed some of the videos, some of the messages surrounding DV. And sadly, I've witnessed women blame her for staying and not leaving. And what hurts the most for me is I saw more women say she should have left than those saying he should have never put his hands on her. And that triggered me. That triggered me. When you say just leave, that is one of the most dismissive and harmful things that you can say to a victim or a survivor of domestic violence. You totally ignore the fear, the financial barriers, the emotional trauma, the children that are involved, the very real danger that many of them face when they're trying to leave. So when you say just leave, we're erasing the complexity and the bravery of the survivors. Instead, what you should be saying is, how can I be of support to you? Or, you're not alone. I'm here when you're ready. Because there's levels to this. Do you know that one of the hardest parts of surviving domestic violence isn't just what happens inside the relationship? It's the judgment that comes on the outside from the people on the outside looking in. How many times have we heard somebody say, if it was me, I would have left, or she must like it if she stayed? That kind of thinking is not only insensitive, it's dangerous. It bothers me to my core when I hear folks say, well, all she had to do was leave, or that couldn't have been me because he wouldn't have done that to me, or it happened to me one time and I was out of there. Well, you know what? Kudos to you for having the strength and the courage to do what you needed to do. But be careful of the things that you say and how you say them, because it could very well be your daughter, your mama, your niece, your girlfriend, or anybody connected to you. Because leaving is not always easy. We got to be careful of our words when we are approaching topics like this, because you don't ever know who you're in the presence of. Do you not think they wish it would have only happened one time and they left? But here's the thing. He may have only hit you once, but how many times did he abuse you with his words and you stayed? How many times did he call you out of your name and you stayed? How many times did he make it impossible for you to have finances and you stayed? How many times did he tell you, don't nobody want you, ain't nobody gonna be bothered with you, I'm the only one you got, and you stayed? How many times? So guess what? You really didn't leave the first time. Check that. You just left the first time it got physical, but it was verbal, it was emotional, it was financial, and it was mental long before that first strike, sis. And we got to be mindful in thinking that every DV situation is the same situation, because it's not. Yes, you may have been blessed to walk away from your situation, but keep this in mind. You were able to walk away. You know why? Because he stopped chasing you. He decided that he no longer wanted to keep bothering you. That's where the difference lies. The mindset of the abuser differs per situation. There are many, many women that have attempted to walk away from their situations, and unfortunately, they're not here to tell their story. We see the news every single day of the stories where women and children are unalive because all she wanted to do was leave. We got to stop thinking folks can move how we move. Some of these women have been emotionally beat down for years. They don't even recognize their worth. They don't even recognize their own strength. And you want to holler, all she got to do is leave? Do you not know how fear works? Some of these women have been so badly battered that he can walk out the door and go to work for 8-9 hours, leave the keys and the windows open, leave the door unlocked. The keys to the car is laying on the table, and she still won't walk out of that door. You know why? Because he has beaten fear into her. He has told her over and over again what he'll do to her if she decided to walk out that door. Some of these women have children and no place to go. Staying is their familiar habitat. That's all they know. You can't just grab the kids and leave without having a plan. It takes strategic planning and execution, because the attempts to leave worsens their chances of being unalived. We've seen the news. We've heard the stories. For some, it means choosing between safety and homelessness. For others, it means risking their children, their finances, or even their lives. So yes, it's easy to sit back and say all she had to do was leave. When she leaves, where's she going? Most victims don't even want to involve their family members because he's already told them what he'll do. That's why some of them stay. Statistically, the most dangerous time for a victim is actually when they try to leave. You know why? Because that's when the abuser starts to feel like he's losing control. When do we start crying out and saying all he has to do is keep his hands to himself? When do we start holding the abuser accountable? Why do we always got to put the work in the hands of the victim? Just leave. If that don't work, just move out of town. If that don't work, just go to a shelter. If that don't work, you may have to change your identity. You just got to do something. Everything for the victim and nothing for the abuser. When does it stop? When does it stop? We got to stop making excuses and put the blame where the blame lies, and that's in the hands of the person that decided to strike. Period. We got to start holding these men accountable. It's so funny how everybody got everything to do when you're on the outside of a situation looking in. You don't know what's going on behind those four walls. This man has mentally abused this person for years and years and years. Do you actually think that it's that easy for her to just say, okay, I'm just going to walk away? Sometimes that's all she knows. Some of these women have been conditioned to believe that, oh, he only loves me because he's putting his hands on me. Not everybody recognizes that love doesn't hurt. Sometimes it takes us a long time. It's easy for you to say, oh, I just walked away. Yeah, okay, I can count on hand how many times I stayed when I was being verbally abused and I stayed and argued back. I didn't leave right away. See, it starts long before the strike comes because they test you and see how far they can go before you decide to finally wake up and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. But that came way before the first strike, though. You can't tell me the first time he called you out of your name, you walked away. That's abuse, sis. It's still abuse. It just looks different. And a lot of these women has been so emotionally beat down to where they would rather have their abuser knock them upside the head than some of the emotional damage they've dealt with. Come on now. We have got to get better as women to stop wanting to always put the blame on the victim. So then you want to say why they don't leave. You know why? Because when I come out on the other side of this thing, I got to deal with people like you all. And I'm not talking about those of you in the chat, but I'm talking about the people who you want to blame the victim. Girl, how you stay that long? Girl, you crazy. I would have never let him be going upside my head like that. I would have been left. You know how long it takes for a person to be rehabilitated after they've been in a situation like abuse. And a lot of us stay for the sake of our children. Some people got children, and I can't just say, you know what, I'm going to pick up the kids and I'm just going to leave. You telling women go to a shelter. You know what? There's a process for shelters. They can't just go knock on the door at a shelter and say, take me and my 5 kids. You know why? Because shelters are full. There's a process. Well, we can't get you into this shelter. You got to come back the next day and put your name on the line or put your name on the list. This is a waiting list for you to even get in the shelter. You know how I know? Because I participate in shelters in my city. It's a process. They can't just decide to walk out tonight and they got a place to lay their head. It's not that easy. So while we out here victim blaming and telling these victims that all they got to do is leave, what help are you offering in your city to help these women coming out of abuse situations? Do you have a place for them? Are you an advocate on the street for these women? Do you have a safe place for them to come when they decide to walk away? Or are you just sitting behind your keyboard thugging like a lot of us do, and you sitting back talking about shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or if it was me? But be careful. Be careful. Because come on now, because it's easy for a lot of us to talk, and a lot of you sitting about talking about I would have did this, but you getting knocked upside the head too. You just ain't telling, you just ain't living in your truth. See, we got to start being honest, and we got to have honest conversations. And excuse me if I'm a little passionate, because I'm passionate about this. This is a topic that bothers me, and it bothers me more because I have worked hand in hand with women that have come out of situations and women that are still in situations. And I know how hard it is for a lot of these women. So it's not just that easy for y'all to sit up and say, oh, just leave. Just leave. Because what happens when they leave? All abusers don't stop there. All abusers don't let you just walk away. You know why? Because they know everybody that you are. They know everybody that you are connected to. They know where your mama stay. They know where your sister stay. They know where your brother stay. They know where your little two girlfriends stay. You know why? Because all of these years he has conditioned you to think that, oh, I'm just concerned about who you're with, or I just want to make sure you're safe. And all he wants to do is get in your circle. He wants to know your circle of friends. So when you do decide to leave, he know where to look for you at. That's why they practice isolation. They want to keep you locked away. Oh, that's not your friend. Oh, she was looking at me a certain kind of way. You need to watch that one. Or you know what? Your mama just don't want us to be together. That's why she telling you to leave me. And I love you, or I ain't got nobody. And here come the little sympathy. I don't have anybody. All I have is you. And if you leave me, I'm going to unalive myself, or I can't live without you. And you know what? They play on our emotions, and we just stay. And we stay because I'm all he got. And I don't want him to be out here by himself. It's a whole, like, it's so many pieces connected to this thing when we talk about domestic violence. It's more than just him saying, oh, you can't leave, and then you just stay. And he left the door. He had to go to work at some point. You didn't walk out the door. Did you forget about the fear factor associated with it? Yeah, he probably did leave the door unlocked. But I can guarantee he probably got some cameras on that house. He'll know when that door opens. He'll know if she tried to escape. He know where she's going. He's isolated her from everywhere. He knows her connections. He know where she's going. Because guess what? Now she's putting her family and friends in jeopardy. Because if they don't tell him where you are, then he can do something to them. It's happened many times. Many families have been unalived because the abuser was looking for you. But y'all say her staying put the family in jeopardy. No, leaving can put the family in jeopardy. Am I right or am I right? So we have to be careful trying to give advice that doesn't make sense. Some of this stuff, some of these folks be saying is just not logical. It sounds good. It sounds good, but unless you're in the situation, it's easy for you to give advice if you've never lived what these people are living. It's easy for you to say what you would have done had it been you. Because a lot of these women, do you think these people signed up for these relationships knowing these men were like they were? The mask hadn't come out yet. You can date some of these men for years and never know that they are the animal that they are. You don't just willingly, I know he beat people, I'm just going to go on over here because he ain't going to do it to me. He hasn't shown me that side. And a lot of times they don't because they're sending their representative. It's not always the real person. We all want to feel like, oh, he loves me. And he's telling me, oh, I only did that because you made me upset. And you know what we do when they tell us that? Then we try to make sure we don't do that thing again because we don't want to make him upset. Or, you know, what did I do to make him want to put his hands on me? You know what? Well, maybe I shouldn't have asked him where was his part of the rent. You know, and he got upset and he hit me. Or, you know, maybe I shouldn't have asked him why he stayed out to 5 o'clock in the morning and made him upset. And then he hit me. So basically what he's doing is constantly training you and slowly breaking you down to making you feel like if you conform to these ways, I won't have to put my hands on you like you're my property, like you're my kid. That's exactly what they're doing. So just imagine the women that have dealt with this year after year after year after year. And God forbid kids come into the equation. Now he's threatening you with the kids. You can leave, but you can't take my kids. How many women you think gonna walk away from their kids? It takes strength and it takes some prayer. A lot of these situations take some prayer for us to try to get out of these things. You can't just walk away without a plan. Where am I going? He won't let me work. He controls all of the money. No, baby, you don't need to work. I don't want my woman to work. I want to pay all the bills. I'm the man. You know what? That's control, sis. That's his way of slowly controlling, breaking you away from everything outside of those four walls. You don't need to go outside for nothing. I just want you to stay at home and be my wife. Take care of the kids. Cook for me. Clean for me. Do all the things I need for you to do outside the house. Because those people out there ain't got nothing they ain't got nothing good for us. They don't want us to be together. They're jealous of you. They don't want you to be with me because they want me. That's all of the stuff they start to slowly beat into you. And you know what? If you hear a thing so much, you'll start to believe it, right? That's just like when you're growing up in households and with parents that, tell you ain't gonna never amount to nothing. You're gonna grow up to be just like your daddy. You're gonna grow up to be no good. You know what? If you hear it for so long, you'll start to really believe it, right? You'll start to really believe it. So come on now. We got to do better. We got to do better when it comes to how hard we go for women that are in these situations. It's easy to say, and the thing is, you have to break a cycle. You have to get to the point to where you're ready to break a cycle. I watched my best friend go through a situation. I told y'all the story where the Negro brought the gas can in the house while her and the baby was asleep in the bed. And he put the gas can right beside her bed. They woke up smelling gas fumes. These men don't care. They don't even care about the children, but they will threaten you about the children. So y'all say leave, but as soon as they leave, they coming. I know where you are. Most men don't stop with you just walking away. Heck, in this day, you can't even tell a man you ain't even interested in dating. He gonna follow you and try to unalive you. So you mean to tell me that a person can walk out of the relationship for an abusive relationship and you think he just gonna let her walk? These men aren't built the same. All of them aren't built the same, and you have to understand the mental capacity of these abusers differ based on who they are and their mindset. They don't all think alike. They're not all built the same. Some of them coming. I don't care where you go. Did you not hear the news story about the man that got 3 years? She had him arrested. She had a paper trail. She went to the police department. She had a paper trail for domestic abuse. They put him out. He ended up getting arrested. He served 3 years in prison. You know what he did the first day out? He hunted her down and unalived her. 3 years later. 3 years later. Get a restraining order, y'all say. Guess what? That only makes it worse. Because if you went to the police station and you're trying to get a restraining order on me, I'll catch you somewhere. Did you hear the story of the young lady that was going to the daycare to pick up the babies from daycare? She had a restraining order on her abuser. He showed up at the daycare and unalived her at the daycare when she dropped the kids off. Y'all say leave, right? You say all she had to do was leave, right? We got to stop being insensitive to these women who are staying. Some of them are staying out of fear that this could happen. Some of them are staying out of fear of, you know what? I don't want this man to do nothing to my mama. I don't want him to do anything to my family. Come on now. But y'all say just leave. Which one is it? He has to be willing to just stop. When are we going to start? When am I going to start seeing the videos and the comments in the posts talking about, why did he hit her? He didn't have to hit her. Where are the people telling him to keep his hands to himself? Why do we have to be the abuser and we have to be the one to figure it all out? The abused. We are being abused, but figure out how to leave, sis. Figure out how to get away from him. He gonna keep on beating you. We're gonna act like he ain't the one over there beating you, but you need to comprise a plan to get yourself out of it. He's doing the abusing, but you, the abuser, the abused, need to figure out how you gonna get away from it. But ain't nobody telling him, man, keep your hands to yourself. Man, why are you doing that to that lady? Man, you know you wrong. You know you shouldn't do that. Get you some counseling. Seek you some help. Let that lady go. Let that girl leave. She grown. Let her leave. You can have anybody else in the world that you want to have. But you want to have this one so that she can continue being your punching bag. But y'all say just leave, right? Y'all say just leave. What's the plan? Think in the mindset of somebody that's been so emotionally drained. And so, do you not know how many times that women have been in these situations and they say, Lord, just take me now. I don't have nothing else to live for. I'm so tired of being beaten. I don't have the strength to think about anything. I don't have the strength or the desire to even want to see another day. Just the next time he come in, just let him take me, because I can't live with this any longer. But you want to sit up and say she needs to comprise a plan to leave when she got time to think about leaving. If he constantly in there, constantly abusing, not only physically but mentally and verbally, when does she have time to try to comprise a plan? And she's constantly being watched. She's constantly being monitored. Do you actually think she got a cell phone laying around that he's allowing her to call who she want to call and he's not tracking it? You don't think he's reading the text messages? You don't think he knows every number that she has saved in that phone? Even if she is leaving to go to work, some of them actually do go out and go to work. You don't think he knows her schedule? You don't think she knows she better be at home by 5 o'clock or it's going to be some problems? It's mental. It's engraved in her that if I don't do this, he's going to do that. And a lot of times we don't want people to know. A lot of times as women, we hold things in because we don't want people in our business. We don't want to tell nobody. You know why? Because as women, unfortunately, some of us have become so insensitive to our sisters and what we go through as women, as if you can't relate. You can relate to your sister, but y'all side with these Negroes and y'all still don't hold them accountable. Y'all will get in these comments and y'all will get up on these panels and you will sit there and go toe for toe to your sisters and you have no grace. What happened to grace? What happened to us supporting each other and pouring into each other? Sis, I don't live in your area, but I got some resources for you. I can do this or that for you. What happened? When did we come so desensitized to our sister circles? I don't even have to know you, but if I know that you're going through something, I know how to reach out and say I can help and do what I can do from where I am. I don't have to see you physically, but if my sister reach out and say she needs some help or she's going through something or she's in a situation, sis, I've been there. I can call a shelter for you. I can do something to try to get you some help so that you won't be in danger, so your kids won't be in danger. I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, just leave, girl, just leave. Where is she going? And half of their families don't have the means or financial stability to take her and your 5 kids in. That's a lot. So a lot of them say, I don't want to inconvenience anybody, so I just stay. I got 5 kids. My family members don't have enough space for me and my 5 kids. And I don't want to drag my 5 kids from this shelter to that shelter every single day. Because guess what? He know where the kids go to school. He going to show up at the school. He know where you work. He going to show up at the job. He know where your mama live. He going to show up over there. You can be running to the grocery store. He knows only certain grocery stores that you go. He knows only certain areas that you visit all the time. He gonna pop up. He know where to find you. It's not you making the decision to leave. It was his decision to stop. Yes, again, kudos to you for leaving. But it was him that decided to no longer pursue you. You didn't make him stop. He chose to stop. He chose to stop. And then half of the time, they don't want to go to their families because their family members enable them to, because, oh, I ain't never seen that side of him. He don't act like that when he's around me. I ain't never seen him. He don't look like he would do nothing like that. You know what? Most of them don't. They're just as charismatic. They're just as loving and caring when they're around people, when they're around your family members. You wouldn't even see. You wouldn't even think he was the monster that he is. Yeah, he just gave you a black eye, but we gonna go to this family reunion. You just go in there and put some makeup on it and put on a hat so they won't see it. And you wear these glasses because you better not tell nobody we just had an incident before you left. You think she gonna tell somebody? She can be right there in the open with everybody. Do you think she gonna tell somebody what he just did to her before he got in the car? No, she's not. And you think she gonna go back home with him when they leave? Absolutely. Because he's already threatened her before he got in the car. He's already told her what he was going to do if somebody find out. That's how bold they are. And you got to think, we're women. These are men. We can only do so much to fight them off of us. But again, don't ever underestimate the power that fear has over these women when it comes to you wanting to tell her all you had to do was do this, that, or the third. There's fear. There's fear. And a lot of times women can be fighting off to defend themselves. Some of them get charged and go to jail because they did defend themselves against their abuser. It's so much that come into play. But I don't want us to forget the fact that it's not up to the victim to stop the abuse. It's up to the abuser because he could keep going on and on and on. Sometimes they'll sit back and let a year or two go by and they'll pop up out of nowhere and strike again. And you thought you had gotten away and you living your best life. And this Negro will find out where you just moved to and he'll pop right back up. It's up to him. He has to decide that I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to get help. You have to decide as his family member to hold him accountable. See, I'm the type of person, I don't care who you are. You can be mama, daddy, brother, cousin, or whomever. I'm going to say something if you're my family member and you are abusing someone. I'm going to say something. We got to put the accountability in the lap that it belongs to and not the victim. We fight so hard for so much, day in and day out and day in and day out. And even when this isn't even our fight, y'all want to put back into the lap of the victim what she should have done. Well, all she had to do. We got to do better when it comes to that. When I say I get so disappointed and I get so triggered and I get so upset because it comes from us. We already fighting a battle to these, what's the man named? The Kevin Samuels of the world. Like he left a bad mark on the men in this society when he passed away because that mindset that they have. We as Black women or women, period, we're already fighting against that battle. But it is so disheartening when we got to fight our sisters over our rights and the things that we go through. And we want to be so hard, but from sister to sister, we want to beat each other down and we want to just blame us for how these Negroes are out here moving. I don't understand. Why is it that you keep blaming the victims instead of the abusers? Why are people so quick to question the victim, but don't nobody ever question the abuser? Well, what you do? Well, what did you say to make him do that? Well, what did you not do to make him do that? Instead of saying, well, why did you hit her? Well, don't you know she's not your property? Don't you know you shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody? Like, where are the questions for the abuser? Come on now. Because think about it. When somebody say, why don't she just leave? What they're really doing is placing the responsibility for the abuse on the victim. But when was the last time we heard somebody say, why don't he just stop hitting her? Why don't he get himself some help for his anger? Why can't he control his issues? Why can't he control his insecurities? You know why? Because it's easier for society to point the fingers at the person who looks weak than it is for them to confront the uncomfortable truth. And that's that the abuser chose the violence. The abuser chose the control. The abuser chose the responsibilities for his actions. Come on now. When we focus on blaming the victim, we let the abuser off the hook. He gone on to the next one. You know why? Because nobody held him accountable. We create a culture where the abusers aren't challenged to change. They're not pushed to seek help. They're not held accountable for the destruction that they cause. That's the culture that we are creating because we're doing so much victim blaming and never any holding the accountability to the abuser. We got to flip the script. So instead of us saying why she didn't leave, we need to start asking, why did he abuse? That's my question. Why didn't she abuse? And half the time it be the woman's house. Why I got to leave my house? Why he didn't leave? Why he didn't leave? Instead of questioning her decisions, why don't we start questioning his choices? Because healing and change will never happen as long as the wrong person is being blamed. Catch that T. Healing and change will never happen as long as the wrong person is being blamed. When are we going to stop coddling these Negroes and holding them accountable? I am sick and tired of every time I turn on a social media platform, a news channel, it's abuse after abuse after abuse. There's a lady I just saw on another station. She, after 20 years of marriage, she decided that she wanted to file for divorce. You know what happened? He unalived her, their 2 children, and himself. Again, healing and change will never happen as long as we are blaming the wrong person. We got to start putting the accountability where it lies, and it's not with the women. We got to start holding these men accountable. And we got to stop victim blaming. And some of y'all so quick to say, well, that's not victim blaming. I'm just saying all she had. Yes, it is, sis. And some of y'all tone be so disrespectful. You don't know who you're in the company with. You don't know that it's a person that could have possibly been listening in this very situation. And you say with your whole chest, well, it wouldn't be me. Well, she must like it. All she had to do was leave. And they're in a situation fighting for their lives. And guess what? I'm not going to open up now because now I feel guilty about me being in a situation that I'm in, and I didn't ask for this. I didn't wake up and choose violence. Violence chose me. He chose to put his hands on me. But she should have left. Y'all be mad disrespectful with that stuff. Yeah, I mean, say it with y'all whole chest about what you tired of hearing, and this person and that person, and you shouldn't have said that, and you should. Guess what? She can do all the things, all of the things. And if he still wants to leave, and if he still wants to hunt her down and continue his abuse, he's going to do just that. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly how it happens. So if you are an individual that just went through it one time and he left you alone, God bless you, sis. God bless you, because it's some that's still fighting the fight. It's some still out here trying to survive. It's some that barely walked away. It's some that not only have the mental scars to show what they've been through, they got some physical scars to show what they've been through. Some of them came out in wheelchairs. Some of them came out with half of their body burned, and they're unrecognizable. Some of them came out and they don't even remember who they are and what they went through. Some of them came out in straitjackets because they had lost their mind. So you need to be careful when you start pointing your finger and putting the blame on the person who didn't ask to be in this situation. Because I remember, you're going to reap what you sow. And you have to pay attention to what you say, because there's power in the tongue. And be careful what you speak and how quick you are to speak it, because it could very well be knocking on your front door, and it ain't going to feel so good when it's knocking on your front door. So you got to be careful how you approach these situations, because there are people who are going through some things. People are fighting for their lives, and yet, but I'm scared to get out of this situation because I may as well stay. You know, if I'm getting blamed more on the outside of the situation than I am in here being knocked upside the head every day, I may as well stay over here. Because guess what? When I come out on the other side, I still got to defend myself. I still got to defend myself. We got to be careful. Again, what happened to grace? What happened to giving each other grace? What happened to us showing up for our sisters and rallying behind each other? What happened to that? What happened to being sensitive to everybody's situation? Everybody ain't you. Everybody's not as strong as you. What happened to the sensitivity? When did we become so desensitized to human nature? Where did it go? We got to do better. People leaving this earth every day, and they're getting younger and younger and younger every day. And we have become so desensitized to each other. And we make it hard. We make it hard for people to choose to walk away from situations, because we quick to point the finger. But remember, when you point that one finger, you got three more pointing back at you. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. There's life and death in the tongue. It's power in the things that you say and the way you say stuff. And sometimes it's your delivery that comes off wrong. Check yourself sometimes. Everything don't need to be said, even though that's how you feel. You are entitled to feel how you feel. We all are entitled to our own opinions. But just because that's how I feel, I don't have to say it. Just because that's what I think, I don't have to say it. Read the room. Pay attention to your surroundings. You don't never know who's listening in. Just because a person hadn't dropped down in a chat or you didn't see them comment or anything doesn't mean a person is not listening. It could be somebody that's sitting in a situation that we're discussing, and you talking about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Not only are you saying it the way you said, but your tone and your delivery is not one that is welcoming. It's not making a person that is seeking help feel safe enough to share or safe enough to ask questions. Because you know why? They feel like they're going to be judged. Because sometimes our tone can be so judgmental. It comes off as so judgmental. You ain't better because you walked out the first time. That don't make you better. Because you nor them chose to be in the situation that you were in. It was the person you were connected to. And people want to say, well, be careful who you date. Be careful who you connected to. Well, you know what? Sometimes it takes years for us to finally see who they really are. That's not something they let us find out right away. It takes a long time for the representative to finally fade away and we start seeing the real person. They don't come out overnight. It's a process. And during that process, they are slowly beating you down of who you are. Slowly but surely, they're beating you down little bit by little bit. And then, by the time they finally beat you down, now the real them stands up. Now we see who was there. That was just your representative. Oh, you're this kind of person. And now we're so deep into it It's hard for us to just walk away because now, again, some of us have made children. Now, our finances are tied to each other. Some of us may have properties together, and you want to say just leave. No, we got to be strategic by this stuff if we want to get out on the other side alive. And even then, it's no guarantee. Because why? The blame lies in the hands of the person that's doing the striking. That's where the blame lies. It's not on her, sis. It's not her job. And I don't understand why we feel like it's more comfortable blaming the victim than it is holding the abuser accountable. I don't understand. And a lot of times when we sit up and talk about what she should have done or how she should have left, you're just reinforcing the cycle of abuse. You're playing a part in it. It's almost like you're helping to coddle the abuser. Because guess what? He see y'all making the comments and telling her, well, all she had to do was leave. Did nobody come over here and tell him what he was doing was wrong? So guess what? He gonna continue thinking he's right and doing what he's doing. And just because you got away from him don't mean the next one will. Because nobody held him accountable the first time. And he continues being who he is. So we need to learn how we can shift the focus from the victim and placing it back on the abuser, because that's where the responsibility for change lies, in the lap of the abuser. We need to get out of the victim blaming. We need to get out of the victim blaming because it's happening more and more. And I try my best to not get as triggered. I try my best to not get as triggered when I'm reading comments. And sometimes, and sis had a live when she was talking about the whole T Hood and Kelsey's. I had to pipe down. That's why I didn't click the link to come on her panel. I was bothered. Big time. We got to do better. We really got to do better. And these are conversations that we need to have because we want to always bring awareness to it, because it's a situation, of course, out of our control. But I feel like the more we have these conversations, the more we can reach someone that may be dealing with the situation, and we can make them feel comfortable enough to come out of their situations. Because a lot of times, again, like I say, it's in your tone. You got to make people feel comfortable enough to want to share. You got to make people feel comfortable enough, and your tone will make or break a person's ability to feel safe enough to even receive what you're saying. It's how you say stuff. And I get we all have our stance on what we believe, and that's okay, because none of us will ever always agree all the time. And that's absolutely okay, because we're all unique individuals. We're all who we are. But we just really, really need to be careful on, how we say what we say, because it's not the victim's fault. Leaving ain't always easy, and it's not always safe. Put the accountability back where it belongs, and that's in the lap of the abuser. We got to stop asking her why she stayed and start asking him why he thought abuse was okay. Why don't we do that? That's what we need to do. We got to combat this. It's an epidemic. It really is. It's happening every single day. And this is a hard but necessary conversation. There are so many women who have actually been in it and was blessed enough to come out on the other side alive. There are some sisters who still fighting, trying to get out. There are some sisters, unfortunately, God rest their soul, didn't make it out. And unfortunately, it's starting as early as high school. Do you not know how many high school girls are going through domestic abuse situations at ages 14? Come on. It's starting real early. We got to do our part. And that's first and foremost. We have to stop blaming the victim. We got to stop blaming the victim. It's not easy to come out of these situations because, for one, trying to put a plan of escape together is hard because some of them come from situations to where he controls all of the finances. So now they have to decide, how can I get money? You can't go nowhere and do nothing without money. So if she don't have a job, she have to think about the finances. Where is the money coming from? How am I going to leave? I got to have resources. Sometimes there's only one vehicle and he takes that vehicle to work on purpose. Only one vehicle. He takes her everywhere he needs to go, where she needs to go. He picks her up. He makes sure she's only around certain people. His family members don't hold him accountable. She'll call his mama. His mama say, well, you know how he is. And you know we big on that. Well, you know how he is. Well, what did you do? Or what did you say? We got to do better. We got to do better, y'all. I'm going to drop the link. If anybody wants to come up, you are welcome. If you have a story that you would like to share, you are more than welcome to come up and share your story. This is a safe space. We do not judge over here. We don't do any of that. We support each other. We love on each other. And that's what it's all about. I just want our voices to be heard. I just want somebody who is listening in that may be going through a situation such as this. We want to know over here, want you to know over here, we support you. We love you. We understand. It is not your fault. Love shouldn't hurt. We got to stop blaming the victims and start holding the abusers accountable. We got to break the silence so that we can break the cycle. We can't be blinded by love. We got to pay attention that, a lot of times what goes on behind closed doors is not always what you think it is. You'll be thinking like, oh, I hear echo, sis.
Oh, you hear echo?
Okay, now I don't. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis. Well needed conversation. OMG. And I just want to say thank you. Well needed. I do have a little bit to share, even when it comes to the story that I think that's why we're here tonight. And that
Mm-hmm.
was the whole Kelsey Frost and T Hood situation. I don't know if you guys saw the video of him cutting his face with a knife. Did you see that, sis?
I saw that. I saw that
Okay.
you. Uh-huh.
Did I show that part in my
No, you
live?
didn't saw it. I saw that
Okay.
on one of those sites on Instagram.
Okay. Okay. And what that was for people that just don't understand mind manipulation. Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
was sitting there cutting his face, but he was sitting next to Kelsey while doing it. And the reason why
Mm.
he did it in front of Kelsey is to have her feel sorry. And I don't know if you noticed in that video, he dropped the knife. Kelsey picked it up real quick and snatched it, and so he can't get it again. He
Mm-hmm.
used that to have her to feel sorry for him. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
can only put myself in her shoes. And in her mind, she probably was thinking, oh my God, so if I leave him now, he's going to unalive himself. It's
Absolutely.
so much that goes into mind control, trauma
Mm-hmm.
bonding. Somebody mentioned statistics the other day. Statistics. It's that's how it gets so high. You know what I mean? And you made an excellent point, and I totally agree. Um, Look, by the time they say hi, they already plotting.
Mm-hmm.
These type of men. Then they start off with the love bombing. That love bombing can go on, let's say, a year. By that
Mm-hmm.
time, you sprung. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And yeah. In a perfect world, like I said before, the first glance of trouble, the first biatch, the first whatever, is easy for, let me just say this. It's easy for a lot of us that are women of particular ages to look back
Mhm.
on situations and judge. You know what I mean? Well, you should have left. The first sign, the red flag, the this, the that. And look, consider yourself blessed if you've never gone through verbal abuse, if you've never gone through physical abuse. I was just telling Aunt
Mhm.
Debbie this on the phone. I told you guys this story last week. I left out a very important part. But when I broke up with an ex, he had purchased me a GMC Envoy truck. And when we broke up, I kept the truck. But that's the same guy that came and scoped out my parking lot in the condos that I was living in,
Mhm.
took down license plates, and hired a private investigator and all of that. So the guy that I had started seeing, and we weren't dating, but when I went to his house, he had a long driveway. I'm in that truck. So I told you guys what happened, he pull over, all of that, all of that. But I went back, and you want to know why? Because I blame myself. Well, you really shouldn't have been over to the guy house in that truck that he bought you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I'm one of the
Mhm.
strongest women I know. But
Mhm.
again, when you find yourself in relationships for years and the blame game and you point it on yourself, he had no right to touch me, period. But that's how I reasoned with myself at that time. So
Mhm.
yeah, I got a DM, I think it was Sunday, from a lady that's a Cutie Crew member that was in my chat when we had this DV conversation the other night. And
Mhm.
she said exactly what you just said, that, you know, um, she feels like that's why a lot of people even are scared to share on platforms because of judging. And I just think that, again, we can get older in life, and sometimes we've learned these life lessons from life itself. But don't forget about the people that may be a tad bit younger and still figuring shit out and maybe going through this. It's just a well needed conversation. So let me
Mhm.
shut up because I can go on and on and on. But you was preaching and teaching. Needed to
Well,
be.
thank you, sis. I really do appreciate it. Hey, April.
Hi.
Thanks for
Hi,
joining.
y'all.
How
You're
are you? Thank
welcome.
you so much for coming up.
You're very welcome. I figured, I be in the bushes all the time, and this is something that is really near and dear to me.
Mm.
Mhm.
And, the other night chit chat when you were on, and I don't know how you got through that because I
Oh,
was,
child.
it was,
Oh, child.
I was sitting over here just flinching, and I was
I
like,
commend
you're
her,
a better
sis. I
woman than
commend
me.
her.
Oh, child. That's
You a
all I
better
got.
woman than me because
Thank
I,
you,
I could
April.
not.
Let me tell you real quick, and it was hard. Okay, it was hard. But
It
go
was
ahead.
hard to listen. It was hard to hear, so I can only
Mhm.
imagine. Yes, but my story is, I mean, thankful I'm here, but I married
Mhm.
my high school sweetheart, and I guess my mom, when she first met him, she kind of saw some things that I didn't see. I'm young and thinking I know everything, and I'm thinking, oh, he just needs attention. He just needs
Mhm.
love. If I can love him past this anger, I can love him past all these red flags that my mama saw off the rip. And that was not the case. I mean, we were together, and I will never forget the first time. It wasn't even a physical thing at that point. It was just a threat, and I was like, we were joking and we were talking one day, and I was like, we were talking
Mhm.
about a bet or something, and I said, "Oh, you welch on bets just like my dad," and he was like, "Don't ever compare me to your dad. What's wrong with you? When I get home, I'm gonna kill you." I was like,
Mm.
Oh
"Pause."
my God.
Mm.
Pause. I packed up all my stuff that day, went to stay with
Mhm.
my dad because I'm like, no, sir, we're not playing that game. And then he was looking like when he came home because he had my car, and I had called the police. I had all my stuff packed. I said, "Can I get my car keys?" And I left. And of
Mhm.
course, I'm
Mm.
young then still, babe, I'm sorry. I'm do better and all the things. So we got back together, and then he was calm for a while. And then when we got married, it went all the way down. Like it went from the verbal the verbal abuse to, he was trying to
Mhm.
control the finances. I'm a nurse, I'm working, I'm at the hospital working, I'm getting called, you need to come home and get these kids because I'm about to
Mm.
go. You don't want me to work, you don't want me to make money. I'm living away from my family, not close to anybody. Didn't want to tell my mom what I was going through because I didn't want to pull them into it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to,
Mhm.
trying to figure my way through the whole scenario until it got to a point where I had to tell them something. It was crazy. He just it turned out, well, a hit one day, and then I'm sorry, please forgive me, I'm gonna do better, and then it just got worse. I mean, I never forget. He would wait till like my kids would sleep. My oldest son to this day has PTSD. I know because he
Mm.
knew at night that that's when we would fight because he didn't want to do it in front of the other kids. But my son knew for whatever reason. I don't know how he knew, but he would always stay up at night and he would just be awake because he was like, "Mom, I was scared. I didn't know if he was gonna kill you. I didn't know what was gonna
Mm.
happen."
Mm.
And
Mm.
and
Mm.
it was heavy. And I mean, like we fighting, like he's choking me. He's taking all my clothes out the closet, putting them on my side of the bed when I get home from work at night, taking all the stuff out the cabinets in the kitchen. So I got to put everything back up while I'm still trying to cook
Mm.
dinner and get the
Mm.
kids ready for the next day so I can go back to work,
Mm.
to him not wanting to work anymore only because he knew I was going to have to do it so that my kids got a roof over their head. They got food, childcare, all the things. And
Mhm.
it just kept going and it just kept going and it just kept going. And then finally, every day I would go to work and I'm just making out a plan. I'm budgeting my money. How can I do this on my own? Because I don't want to do
Mhm.
this with him anymore. And he was
Mhm.
always threatening divorce. I'm gonna divorce you. I'm gonna leave you. Nobody gonna want you with 6 kids. I'm like, you know what?
Mm.
I didn't even give a damn.
Yeah.
If you're gonna leave, just go. So one day he said it. He was like, I'm gonna divorce you. I said, okay, no problem. And I'm telling you, the peace of Jesus came over me that day.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I said, okay. And he said, okay. And I said, do you want me to call an attorney? He was like, I don't care. Do what you got to do. Okay. I called the first person that had an availability, which was the next day. I said, can you meet me at the attorney's office at 3:30? Bring your checkbook. He got there. He gave me a checkbook. I wrote the check to the lady and filed for divorce. He packed up, moved to Vegas, and that was that.
Oh, child, not in Vegas.
he
I'm sure.
he is in Vegas.
God bless you, sis, though, for real.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it was a lot. And and every day, like, I try to talk to my kids because after he left, it was the whole fallout from all of that, with them because they were like, why didn't you leave? So I had to go through all of that. We went to counseling, just trying to rebuild our lives and just trying to, help them to not, especially my boys, don't repeat that cycle because that's not what we're doing.
Mhm.
So it was a lot, but I'm thankful that, thankfully my son will stay up at night. Thankfully that my husband knew, so, he went far enough, but thank God he didn't cross over. Thank God, a choking that night didn't choke me out to a point where, I didn't come back and I
Yeah.
didn't wake up. So it's a lot. And, people say, oh, you should leave. But when you're in it, you're trying to figure out how to get out
Mhm.
safely,
Mhm.
how to get out without, injury to yourself, to your kids, to your family. It's a lot of moving parts when you're in that type of situation. And, it's easy to say what you'll do when you're not in it. But when you're in it, it's hard as hell to figure
Mhm.
your way out, safely figure your way out so that you can move on and live.
Mhm.
So
Well, I'm glad. Thank you again for sharing your story. And I'm glad God blessed you to be able to get out of your situation and able to
Mhm.
come up on this panel and share your story.
yes, and
So
I and
thank you for that.
you're welcome. I'm always, I know people probably looking at me like, why she always talking about being in that situation? But you
Keep
just
talking
never
about it.
know
That's
because
Exactly.
right.
somebody goes through that and somebody
Mhm.
needs to know, how to get out and that you can get out. It's not if
Mhm.
some people don't make it out, but some people can. A lot of people can make it out, and it just
Mhm.
takes, people to care enough to share that you can get through it. So
Yeah.
thank y'all so much for talking about it. And I'm thankful that, I was strong enough to hit this link
And I'm
and
Yeah.
come
glad
up and
you
share
were
my
too.
story with you guys.
And I'm glad you were too, because your story will help so many people. So
Mhm.
you keep talking about it. Scream it to the mountaintops
That's
if you have
right.
to, because I
Gosh,
absolutely will. I will forever keep
me
talking
too.
about it because the more we talk about it, the more we shine a light on it. And the more that our voices and our stories can reach somebody else and be able to help somebody else that's going through the situation, to not only, let them know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because
Mm-hmm.
things may look dark now, things may look bad, you may feel like there's no way out, but there are people who actually made it out of the situation
That's
Yes.
safely
right.
and are thriving and living
That's
their
right.
best lives, and now we're able to use that as a testimony to be able to help the next person. And that's how
Amen.
we continue to
That's
shine
right.
a light. So your story matters. Keep sharing your story. Keep telling your story to people, because you never know who's listening. You never know who
Mm-hmm.
may say, you know what, I'm going through the same thing that she went through. So always use your voice, because it can be help for the next person that's going through. And I resonated with you when you talked about the things that he did. I remember I was driving on the expressway. My ex grabbed the steering wheel and
Mm.
pulled the steering wheel, and I swerved off the road. That's how, and because he knew I
Lord.
was planning to leave, he was
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep me from leaving. So, one of the things I will tell anybody, don't ever tell them that you are planning to leave,
That's
because
right.
he was
That's right.
always trying to do things. And that was the second time he had grabbed that steering wheel. One time we were in the city streets, and he grabbed the steering wheel, and I lost control and hit the curve, and it ended up messing up the front tire on the car. So people
Mm-hmm.
will say leave, and like you say, you have to plan. It takes planning,
Right.
because while you're planning, they're still conniving, and they're still doing what they're doing behind the scenes. And if they sense that you are getting enough strength to try to leave, then they start doing other things. So you do have to be careful, and you have to be
Mm-hmm.
strategic. But it's the grace of God that I am standing right here talking to you, being able to share my story. So I will always have a voice for women that are going through domestic situations. I will always speak out. I will always be bothered by people trying to say that all you got to do is just leave, because it ain't that easy. It
It's
wasn't
not
even
that
that easy
easy.
for them. It's
E-
not that easy.
That's easier said than done. You know what though?
Definitely.
When stories like this, and especially you, April, with you sharing right now, what you went through, that removes the shame. None of us are saying, "I'm not," you not, sis, you're not saying, "Girl, just stay." Ain't nothing wrong with staying and getting your. That's not what people are saying. But sometimes, in some cases, people can leave and they gone. And man, but sis, what you said, and we went through that in another DV conversation. It is up to
Mhm.
the man to say, yeah, I'm done. I ain't
Absolutely.
gonna touch it no more. So yeah, that is the goal, to leave. But what April just did is you remove the shame from maybe somebody that's listening, maybe somebody that's in the chat that's currently in this situation, that's giving them strength, you know what I'm saying, to map out a plan to get on up out of there. So I appreciate you for sharing that and having the courage to hit the link and tell your story. It needs to be said. It does.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I absolutely appreciate you for coming up as well. What did SKR said? Did the kids want y'all to stay together? Um, I think that's for you, April.
No, my kids definitely wanted me to leave. They, so my oldest kids were the ones that really knew what was going on. My younger ones, they were too young, they didn't know. But my oldest were like, "You got to go. We got to get him up out of here." And even to this day, they don't have anything to do with him at all whatsoever. The only one of my kids
Mhm.
that actually deals with their father is my youngest, and that's only because he stayed with him for a while. And even after all of that, I was just praying, like, he was a baby then, and I was like, maybe he
Mhm.
won't be exposed to that level of foolishness. And it wasn't to that degree, but it definitely was still some. And so that infuriates me even more. It's like, when you get to a point where you're healing and you're able to go through it, and then you realize, here, this child has gone through some stuff that he shouldn't have had to go through. And this man who doesn't think there's nothing wrong with what he's done, like, to this day, he has
Mhm.
never been accountable or said that, I did anything wrong. He doesn't think he did anything wrong. Like, it was crazy. I mean, the way he moves around, his wife moves around, like, you married this man knowing this is the person that he is, and then y'all want to, continue to come after me the best way you can. It's like the cycle just keeps going. And then my son is
Mhm.
telling me now that he's out of the home, he's in college now, and now he's sharing with me all the stories of things he went through. And I'm like, oh my
Mm.
God, this man, he just don't stop. And it's like, how do you? And my dad's always telling me, you got to forgive him. I don't know how. I haven't got to
Yeah.
a place of forgiveness yet,
Mhm.
because you were still hurting my child. You hurt me. You hurt my oldest kids, and now my youngest child is telling me stuff that he had to go through with you. It's just
Mhm.
it's a lot.
It's a
Mm.
process. It's definitely a process. It was hard for me to get to the point of forgiveness as well. I got there eventually, but it's not an overnight thing.
Mhm.
And my ex did try to pull the kids on his side. He did try to talk them. Well, don't you want to stay with me? You don't want to leave me, like trying to play on their
Mhm.
sympathy to
Mhm.
basically put them in a position of choosing who they wanted to stay. But baby, my girls was gonna always ride with mama. But
Mhm.
he definitely did try. And that's the thing. They start to pull when they start to feel like they're losing control. They start to pull out all of the
Mhm.
strings. And this is when they start to get angrier and angrier. So, this is when you really do have to be careful, and you really can't tell them what your plan is. But they can
Mhm.
sense when you start to get your strength and get stronger, because things that you used to would be bothered by doesn't bother you anymore. And and
Exactly.
sometimes we, like sis was just saying, um, when people talk about, well, you continue to stay. No, I stayed. It's not saying that I'm staying because I enjoy what he's doing to me.
Right.
But what's a few more hits until I can get out this door, because I almost have my plan together so that I can leave. I'm so accustomed to it now. You know what I'm saying? But I am working on a plan trying to get out. I can't do this overnight. And it is trickier when it comes to kids, because I do know a young lady that did try to leave. They had kids, and the police made her go back because of the kids. They were married. And because he was the father, he went and signed them out of school. So it's tricky. You have to,
Mhm.
one, know the laws in your city and in your state, and you have to know how to move when kids are involved, because then they
Mhm.
can pull the um, parental kidnapping charge and all of this kind of stuff, and you keeping them from the kids, so you can't leave and not tell him where his kids are. And if he know where the kids are, guess what? He gonna know where you are. So it's
Mhm.
kind of hard. It's kind of hard, but you actually have to make sure that your plan is airtight, and you can only tell so many people. You can't tell everybody your plan, because unfortunately you have people in your family that still side with your abuser,
Or
because
they or they don't know and they want you guys to stay together. Oh my God, you make such a cute couple and go to therapy. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
All of that comes into play when it comes to situations like this. But like you said, sis, blame the AB user. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
It was tough. It was tough and it's been tough. Even getting on social media, period, is tough. Back in
mm-hmm,
our day, I don't want to age us, but we learned of things on the news or the newspaper. But now with social media, every day you see a woman either unalive, going through it, bruised up, and all of that. And like you said, and then the comment section, well, what did she do? Oh, well, she should have done this. And wait a minute, go back to the where this started. Let's start there. I was real big on wanting the authorities to handle this guy case, the T Hood case, and all of that. But like I said the other day, when I saw that video of him jumping that girl while she was asleep, you will never hear me out here champion and hell no, no,
mm-mm,
no.
mm-mm. I totally agree. Put the blame where it lies,
That's
and that's
right.
in the hands of the abuser. Nobody deserves to have hands put on them, because we're grown women. We're not your children. We're
Mm-hmm.
not your possession. You don't own us. And
Yeah.
we have every right to decide that we don't want to be in a relationship or not. You don't get to force us to be in these situations. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do find yourself in these situations, we just have to make sure we are moving strategically, because
Yeah.
your life depends on it. And again, You know, you have family members that coddle them. You have family members. You got their mamas know that they're like this, but guess what?
Yeah,
Their mama wants you to keep them over there because she don't want to have to deal with it. That's why she
absolutely.
tell you, well, maybe y'all can work it out, or you know how
Absolutely.
he is. That's just how he is, and you over there getting your head knocked in. She don't want him to come over there because she can't do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they so
Mm-hmm.
quick to tell you to work it out. Well, work it
Mm-hmm.
out. You know, y'all been together for so long. No, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. If
Yeah.
you are, if and then I also have a young lady that's in one of the domestic violence shelters that I go through. We're in the process of helping her put her plan together. She's still with her abuser, but she sneaks to this therapy.
Mm.
Um, and she is we're working on her exit plan. We have a organization here that will help victims that are in domestic violence situations work on a
Mm.
plan to strategically remove themselves. So we help them find work. We
Mm-hmm.
help them find a channel to channel them through safety, or you need somewhere to go and you don't have a family member. So we have places that they can go for shelter to get
Mm-hmm.
them out of the situations. And she comes when he's at work. So he works third shift, so he sleeps first shift. So when she goes to work, she comes over on her lunch break, and he
Mm.
doesn't know that she comes and attend these sessions, and she's working on her plan. So that's why I tell people, like, there's it's a process. You know,
Mm.
these women have to go through a process to uh, build these plans to get away from these men. And again, it's the type of, it depends on the type of man that you're with, is whether or not he stops. You can do all of this and he may say, okay, she got away, let her go and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to continue his pursuit until he finds you by all means necessary. But a lot of them don't care, if I got to go through your mama, if I got to go through, you know, your brother or whomever, his
They've done
only
it.
thought is to get to you.
That's right.
Because
And if I could
how
hurt them, if I could hurt them, I know that's gonna make you hurt,
it's gonna make you
Exactly.
come back.
yeah, and a lot of women sit with that. We hear a lot. I heard it in my live the other night. Well, she had means. She had means and money and she could have left. Yeah, you may have means and money, but what about your mental? Again, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times that don't even come in the mind frame of somebody that's just been beat down. You know what I'm saying? Mentally. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sometimes they crawl up out of that. So by
Mm-hmm.
no means, I don't think anyone is saying you stay now. Yeah, you stay. Look, if you are at the point where you know this is it, first thing should be authority. Start a paper trail,
Always.
and always get to somewhere that you know that is safe. But again, we must say the same thing when it comes to these AB users. That's the
Mm-hmm.
problem. With me listening to the mother of this guy on Ratchet TV the other night, and she said, "Oh, I've never known him to be an AB user, but I know that she was." It's ish like that,
Mm-hmm.
let me know that when he come on, yeah, we got into another fight, she hit me and I had to, and mama just sitting there, well, baby, you just did what you had to do. That's how women end up dealing with this. But the
Mm-hmm.
blame, again, put it where it belongs. It's heartbreaking, like you said, to even hear some of the things that's been said. And I'm not just saying on my channel, but just period across, especially social media. Wow, you will make a person shut down and just say, well, F it, I'm just gonna stay in this. You know what I mean? I'm already getting blamed, so I may as well stay. Have some grace.
That's what I say, sis. Have grace. Have grace. Yes. Peace, Love, and Light says so many states has lost federal funding for battered women's shelters and programs. My daughter lost her job last month and she took joy in helping those women. Kudos to your daughter.
Mhm.
And you are so right. A lot of these places have lost their federal funding, but there are some private owned organizations that are still out here with feet on the street that are trying to do what to do, because a lot of times these programs are led by women who have been in these situations,
Mhm.
and they know how hard it is to get out of. So if we can do whatever we can do to try to be a voice like in our city to make ourselves available and just using our platforms to bring awareness to situations like this. It's good for us to come and talk about the things that we talk about and have fun and laugh and kiki, but this is a situation that we need to have because I especially because so much has been going on regarding this whole T Hood situation, and everybody has been honing in on the domestic part of it, but just the comments just across the board from different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just
Mhm.
seeing these comments from women has really bothered me. And
Mhm.
I got so angry because I'm sitting there, I'm like, at the
Sure.
end of the day, you a woman first.
Yeah.
You're a woman first. In my situation, just because I was blessed to get out of my situation, it could have went a different way. Because when I look back on my situation, it's the grace of God that
But
I made it out and I'm able to be here and share with you all.
mhm.
So it hasn't been
Exactly.
an easy feat. So it's easier said than done to just leave. It don't
Mhm.
Right.
always work like that.
That's right.
You know who I wish was here? Aunt Debbie. And because we've been talking about it on and off, and she said that she's really gonna have something big coming up in October, domestic violence
Mm-hmm.
month with
Mhm.
interviews of people and all of that. But Aunt Debbie also, and my social group in Chicago, we were very active as well. But Aunt Debbie had she ran houses for women that's gone through DV.
Mm-hmm.
She's gone to sit down with a state's attorney in Illinois, in Chicago, excuse me, Kim Fox. She's gone to the prisons and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And Miss Wynn, she said exactly what you just said right now. How heartbreaking it was when some of those women would go back. But even on Debbie and naturally the majority of us, we know again there's a such thing as trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Trauma bonding. And a lot of people use that definition wrong, thinking that, for instance, it's a group of us. They used to say that when we was talking about the situation with Mel going through with Martell, and oh, they just trauma bonded. No, you trauma bond with your AB user. That's
Mm-hmm.
trauma bonding. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think a lot of women in particular need to keep in the forefront before they judge. Thank God if you didn't go through it, but it's a lot that
Mm-hmm.
have and still is currently, you know?
Sure is. A lot of them. A
That's
lot
true.
of them are still currently going through it. And then too, you made me think when you said about the young lady that went back, like Miss Wynn said, we
Mhm.
have to keep in mind that these ladies loved their
That's
abusers.
it.
I loved my ex-husband.
Mhm.
These were men that we loved. We were in relationship with. It wasn't just a little regular Joe Schmo that we met off the street. There
Mhm.
were years of love that was here. And then some of these women have been abused for so long, they feel like,
The
oh, if
love
he
is
didn't hit me,
yeah.
he didn't love me. So a lot of people think, and it's a long history of mental anguish that you have to go
Mhm.
through in these situations. And we're drawn because again, we're natural nurturers. When they start saying that they're going to do something to themselves, to unalive themselves, then
Mhm.
we, the human side of us, are like, I don't want him to do nothing. Well, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna leave because I don't want him to hurt himself, and then people will be blaming me, or I
Yep.
don't want my leaving cause him to harm himself. And guess what? And we stay. And when he see that we stay, he'll be okay for a couple of days and then he go right back. So they use that as manipulation. I'm
Sure.
manipulating you to stay by telling you that I'm going to do something to myself. And
Mm.
he didn't have a thought of doing anything to
Mm-mm.
himself, but he knew that would keep you in just a little longer. So they
That's
continue to do these things. Or then if it stops being he's going to harm himself, or I'm going to do something to your mama.
mhm.
Well, I don't want him to harm my mama, so I'm going to stay with him. Or I'm going to do something to the kids. I don't want him to do anything to the kids, so I'm going to stay. So it's master manipulation, and it is control, and it
Yes,
is
ma'am.
fear. because we fear that someone that we love is going to get hurt because of our situation.
Mhm.
So I would rather stay in the situation to avoid someone that I love being hurt because of what I'm going through. And a
Mhm.
lot of people, my family members, don't even know the half of what I went through. I
Mine
Mhm.
never
either.
shared it,
Mine either.
never shared it. So we
Yeah.
have to just be careful with, how we are addressing people in these situations. And most importantly, to anybody that's going through it, um, have a plan. When you're trying to leave, have a plan.
That's
And
right.
if you're listening or if you're in the chat, I have some tips. You can write them down. You can catch the replay and come back and listen. But some tips for anyone that is trying to leave an abusive situation. Number one is to create a safety plan. Identify a safe place that you can go if things escalate. Have that one friend, family member, or a safe house that you can go to. And my mama used to always tell me, don't ever let him know everybody in your circle. Always
Mhm.
have one person that he don't know where she lives. He can't get in contact with her. He don't know the number. And I had that friend. So always have one person or persons that he knows absolutely nothing about. And that's a lot of times what they try to do at the initial stage of the relationship. They want to know who your girlfriends are. Oh, is she married? Oh, where she live and where she work. You think it's nice and he's trying to get to know you, but that's part of his control tactic because he's trying to find out who's in your circle and he'll know where to look for you if he need to. So be careful with that. Always have a safe place. Keep important items ready and somewhere where you can easily grab them. Your ID, your birth certificates, your bank cards, cash if you have it, your medication, and your keys. If you got to have a spare set, get a spare set, but always keep it somewhere tucked to where if you have to leave in a hurry, you have those important documents because you will need those important documents. Memorize key phone numbers in case your phone is taken. My ex took my phone. He broke it in half. I had a flip phone and he snatched it out of my hand and broke it in half. That from that day forward, I made sure I either memorized numbers or I stored them. I wrote them down and kept them where I kept my social security card and stuff. Always memorize key phone numbers because they are quick to want to take your phone, your cellular device. Use technology safely. Clear any search history after looking up any type of help. Turn off your location services or use a safe device if possible. Change passwords discreetly for your email, your bank account, and your social media. Change passwords that he may know. Reach out for support. Tell a trusted friend or a family member about what's happening. Always tell someone about what's happening. Create a code word with someone you trust so they know when you're in danger. My code is code pink. Create a code word, whatever it is. If I send you a code pink, you know I need help. So create a code word. Connect with the local domestic violence hotline or an advocate who can guide you step by step. Look for those shelters and those advocate hotlines in your area. They are available. You can Google them for your area, for your city. They are available. Secure your finances if possible. Start a savings account. Start saving a small amount of money when safe, something that's not easy for him to track. Start saving because you will need money to get from place to place. Open up a separate bank account in your name if you can. Or if you have a trusted friend that you can give a few dollars to every pay period, just so they can keep it in a safe space for you. Gather your important financial documents. Make sure you do it discreetly. If you need copies of bank statements and any of those things that may be useful for you when you're outside of the home with your abuser, have those documents gathered and discreetly place them somewhere where he can't find them. Know the resources. In the US, you have to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I had that going across the screen. Call that hotline 1-800-799-733 I'm sorry, 1-800-799-7233, or you can text START, text START to 88788. 88788. Many areas have local shelters and advocacy groups that can provide housing, counseling, and legal support. So check your city for the areas that are local shelters and advocacy groups that can pull you in if you need help or you need emergency places to stay. Do not announce your exit. Leaving can be the most dangerous time. So, since abusers may feel like they're losing control, this is when it really, really gets dangerous when you're trying to leave. So, do not, in the midst of the heated argument, do not yell out that I'm leaving. Don't tell him you're leaving. Do it secretly. Plan quietly. And if possible, leave when he's not around. When he go to work, or when you know he's somewhere out, or whatever the case. In my case, I moved out in the middle of the night. It was 1:00 in the morning. I was out of there. So plan to leave quietly and try to make sure he's not around when you're trying to leave. Protect yourself legally. Consider getting a restraining order or a protective order if it's safe to do so. And again, each abuser is different. Their mindsets are different. So make sure you're safe when you're doing these things, because a lot of times a restraining order can trigger them. So be careful. Keep copies of any threatening messages, photos of injuries, or police reports. You always want to file a police report to make sure that you are creating a paper trail. Take photos of the black eyes and the scratches on your arms and the knots on your head or whatever. Take photos of those. Make sure you keep copies of any messages that he's threatening through text message or email. All of that, screenshot it and send it to someone so that you have a safe space to store it, so that you can have proof. This is a part of creating your paper trail. Then focus on healing after you leave, because once you leave, you still have to go through therapy, get counseling, join a support group, because this is life changing, right? You're coming from a situation where you've been in this abusive situation for a long time. It's going to feel very abnormal to you for a while, because it's not what you're accustomed to. So make sure you can find you a counselor or a support group, so you can join those groups and you're able to be in groups with like other women that have come out of the situation with you. And so you can go through therapy, because you're going to need it. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and believe in you. Separate yourself from these people who want to victim blame and tell you what you should have done versus what you didn't do, and vice versa. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. And also remember that healing takes time. Healing takes time, but your freedom was worth it, sis. So do what you need to do for you to get the help that you need. Again, those were some tips to anybody that is in a situation or know somebody that's in a situation and they are trying to compile a plan to leave an abusive situation. These are some helpful tips that will definitely be worth it. So just make sure you save them. You can come back to the live and listen in later, but we need it. We need it. We need each other. We need the support of each other. We need to rally around each other. We need to continue speaking life into each other. We need to continue having these types of conversations, because it's important. And I feel like the more we talk about it, the more, these Negroes can see that we're not standing for this. Like, we're fighting back and we're doing what we need to do to get to where we need to get. And it's sad. It's a sad situation that we even have to be having these conversations. It really is. It is so sad that we have to have conversations like this. But, to God be the glory for all of us that have been through it and came out of it. To God be the glory. because had it not been for him, a lot of us wouldn't have been out of the situation that we were in. Teresa says, please don't let folks keep you from opening up. We are a safe place and want everyone to open up if needed. We are here for each other. No judgment on Peak Table Topics, Chit Chat, or Aunt Debbie. Absolutely. There is no judgment. We are a safe place. We are a sisterhood. We support each other. We love each other. And these are conversations that we are going to be having. And again, I know it can be triggering for some when we talk about these situations, but it triggered me more when it's people that's just talking about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And, when you've been in a situation and then depending on how hard the situation was from one person to the next, it's hard for me to just sit back and just listen to people talk so insensitive to a situation as sensitive as this, because we go through enough. We go through enough. And for us as women to have to also talk about these situations and then try to find our way out of these situations, it's just hard. It's just hard. My degree is real said, I've seen where restraining orders have sent people to their absolutely. They absolutely have. Yes, they have. It's not always a good thing, because some only escalate the situation for sure. Miss Wynn says, Pink Diva, I'm sorry for your experience, but you are providing an excellent safety plan. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you. But God, right? But God. It's all God. She also says sometimes shelter can provide funding to move out of state, at least in the past. Some of them still do, sis. Some of them still do. So that's why you definitely have to make sure you um, contact some of the local shelters in your area. I know we have some called the Underground, where they're kind of like off the radar, and they have like an escape plan to where they can hide the women and children, even so much so to the point to where they give you a whole new identity. And when they send you quote unquote underground, it's changing your identity. You can't contact family members or anybody from your past. You're really starting a whole new life and changing the name of the children. And these are for women who are in really, really bad domestic situations. They're all bad, but some of them are extremely bad and far worse than some are, because like I say, each situation is different. Each situation is different. But we are here to be helpers one to another. That's what we're for. We're here to be voices for each other. We are here to be community for each other. That's what we are here for. My degree is real said, I thank God I wasn't in this situation. I feel the pain for others going through it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sis said prayers going up to women. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Yes, Lord. The things that we have to go through. You hear me? The things that we have to go through. Go through. But I appreciate you all for coming in and joining me on this topic, y'all, because I had a moment. I reached out to sis. I was like, I showed her something in regards to this, and she was like, I think that'll be a good topic. I say, I'm changing my topic for tonight because it was supposed to be something different. I said, but I'm changing the topic for tonight because I just felt heavy. I felt really heavy. My heart was heavy. I was sad. I was angry. I was all the things, like dealing with all of the emotions that comes along with this topic, because I've been there. I've been there. I've had friends that has been there, and this is something that I just preach and preach and preach and pray that my daughters never go through situations like this. But that's why you really, really have to be careful how we speak, because we never know if this may find us at our front door through somebody else that's that's our loved ones, or somebody that's near and dear to us. So we needed this conversations. We needed this. April, thank you for coming up, sis, and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. We love you. I know that something that you said helped somebody else. It resonated to somebody else. That's your story is so familiar. And I know somebody that'll join in and listening in later will get something from what you had to share, and we love you and we appreciate you. Do you have any other closing remarks that you would like to add?
I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to come up and to share my story. And thank you for providing this safe space for women because we just need it. I think that
Mhm.
this topic, we don't talk about it enough until something is happening. And I think it should just
I
be
agree.
ongoing dialogue that, that's happening all of the time so that people are aware of what to do and how to maneuver through it if they're going through it. So I just want to thank you guys all for supporting me and giving me the chance to share my story with you this evening.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate you. And yes, and I'm glad you feel like it is a safe space because that's always our goal. We always want to do what we have to do to make sure we are creating room for community, room for women to come, to share, to talk about. These are real life situations that we're going through. And our testimonies can help somebody else. And like you say, it feels like every time we turn on the TV or open up social media somewhere, we're seeing things like this. And that's when we start to hear outcry. But we need to talk about it when it's not being talked about, especially during like holidays. And that's when domestic violence is at its highest. And so it's an ongoing thing every day. So we need to talk about it and make sure we're advocating for women going through situations like this. We are advocating for the young girls because, like I say, they're starting as early as age 14 in school. And what little girl at the age of 14 should be going through domestic situations with a little boy? Like, that's abnormal. It shouldn't be. So, us raising our voices and doing what we need to do, I feel like we've made a difference in the lives of other people just by talking about it. So again, I appreciate you, sis. To everybody, to those of you that'll be joining in on the replay, please make sure you hit the like button on your way in. We appreciate you. I am so glad that we had the opportunity tonight to talk about this real and raw conversation about domestic violence. It's a heavy subject, very heavy, but again, one that must be spoken about. Like we've all said, we've talked about the silence, the stigma, the victim blaming, and the need to finally hold abusers accountable. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this discussion, is this: love should never hurt. Abuse is not love. Control is not love. Fear is not love. So, to every woman that's listening tonight, if you're in a situation, know this: you are not weak. You are not to blame. You are not alone. Leaving is not always simple, but your life and your safety matters more than anything. And healing is possible. To the rest of us, our sisters, our friends, our mothers, and our community, we must become safe places and not judgmental ones. Instead of us asking, why didn't she leave? Let's start asking, how can I help her feel safe enough to leave? When we shift the blame from the victim to the abuser, when we speak up instead of staying silent, and when we extend compassion instead of criticism, that's when the cycle begins to break. So let us keep using our voices, because silence protects the abuser. Speaking out protects the survivor. Together, we can remind every woman out there, every woman, every girl, you are worthy, you are loved, we need you, you are needed. We are here to be your safety, and we are here to help bring you peace always. Always. We love you. So again, thank you to everybody that joined in. I appreciate you all. Again, like I said, this was a heavy topic, but I appreciate you all for coming and joining and sharing. Everybody sharing their experience. To those of you that were commenting and leaving comments, and again to April, to my sis Chit Chat, for coming to the panel. I appreciate you all for sharing your stories. It's just this is what we need to do for each other. This is what we need. We need to talk about these conversations, regardless of how hard they are. We can't shy away from what's right in our face. These things are happening every day, and this is definitely conversations that we definitely need to talk about. So again, Thank y'all for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you. My degree is real said this is another great topic. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. Thank you all for being patient. I know I've missed 2 weeks, but thank you all for being patient. And thank you all for showing up today and just having this conversation with me. I feel a little better after having the conversation and us being able to chat and all of the things. So I love you all. Until next Tuesday, right back here at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Next Tuesday. Y'all have a great night. Know that I love you, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Have a good night.